Hey guys, this is Jenny. Welcome back to Rainy Day Coloring. First things first, I have to say I'm filming this Tuesday. I'm not sure when I'll put this video up. But I just checked and I have 16 subscribers on my channel and I'm super excited. That's amazing. I think I'm only related to 3 of them. So cool. So anyway, to anyone who's been watching or if you're subscribing, that is so amazing, and I just really appreciate that you're here and that you're back, and I hope everyone's having a great day. In my last haul video I mentioned, well, I showed this color charts book which was new for me, and I mentioned that I was getting a set of 51 Caliart brush dual tip alcohol markers because they were on a lightning deal last week. So, or actually I want to say it was just last Saturday, and they were a little bit cheaper than normal. I think they were like $22 versus $30. So I thought today what might be fun would be to go through and swatch them together, and I'll kind of show you how I use my color chart book, and we can kind of explore these markers together. So first things, inside you always get this nice little black zipped container. Fabulous. It is 51 colors. One of those, of course, is our colorless blender. So I won't actually be swatching that one out today. Just kind of, if you take a look at the marker for a second first, it's kind of interesting. So I've never had the Caliart markers before. These are my very first set. I'm so excited. In fact, it was like killing me not to start swatching them and playing around with them. They have a really nice feel to them, a nice weight. These do have a brush tip on one side. I'll show you that. And I love a brush tip. And then they have a broad side or chisel tip on the other. Okay. They do have their letters or number codes on each end. So let's see if that can come into focus. So we have B313 on both sides, and then on this little sticker here they actually each have a color name as well, which I think is pretty neat. I like that aspect of them. So in my color chart book, I started today. I just received this the other day in the mail, and I'd mentioned in my last video that I liked the smaller size, and I liked that they were all this is just a book of color charts. So sorry, there's a little bit of glare there, but it won't be there when I open the page. And this is by Yasmin Eldahan. So we're gonna get started. So in order to just kind of quicken this, I don't want this to be too long of a video, is I went ahead and I got this page all ready for us. So I labeled the top with what it is, and I went through and I labeled the color name as well as the code for the color. Because I have 51, it did go on to my next page. So you'll see we have 2 pages of that, and we will just go ahead and start swatching. I did go through today, and for some that I'm not gonna do on camera, I went and was swatching some of my new Spectrum Noir sets, some of my kind of miscellaneous Copics. So I did start doing some in here, but I really wanted to save these Caliart to do on video, so we can check back together. All right, I'm gonna put this over here, and hopefully they're gonna be sort of in order, so it shouldn't be too bad for me to find them. This first one is sky blue, so let's see how that looks. And I have not swatched these yet, so I'm really excited. So you'll definitely want to remember when you're using alcohol markers, you may have seen me do this, that I always have my swatch paper behind. I personally like to use let's see, this is Brilliant Brew. I personally like to use either a really thick piece of cardstock or even watercolor paper if I'm using something particularly wet. This one, ooh, this is pretty. This is Brilliant Blue. I think I started to mention this a second ago, but I didn't finish my thought. Is that when you're using alcohol markers, you'll want to wait for it to dry to see the true color, which is another reason why I love having my colors all swatched out, because you will find they generally don't do a great job of matching their lids. So you'll want to see what it looks like dry, and that way you won't have to wait for it to dry if you're just kind of playing around. So this is a pastel blue. So far we've been doing all of our blues. And you'll have to tell me if this is just too hard to see, and I'll figure out a better method next time. This is how do you say that? Cerulean blue. Ooh, that's really pretty. Okay, so while I'm going through and doing this, we almost might even do just like a modified coloring chat. Although I'm not really doing a fun coloring, I'm just swatching these colors. This is cloud blue. I kind of want to leave, I should show you what I mean about matching. And we'll see. I haven't checked to see how close the Caliarts yet are. But so we see up here we have our sky blue. Here's what that lid looks like. So I mean, I guess it's not terribly far off, but significantly lighter tone. A big enough difference for me that I really need to see them swatched. I just can't go by the lid color. This is a turquoise green light. I was kind of excited to see what this looked like. So we'll see how that is. I also thought this one was interesting because when I saw this, I was like, I do not know what that word means. Blatic, B-L-A-T-I-C. Is that the name of a color? And I'm just not hip to it. That's distinctly possible. So we'll see. So far I'm loving how these feel. I'm really excited to start coloring with them. Now I'm on my cool grays. This probably won't show up. I'm assuming it's really light. This is a cool gray 00. And then I'll move to a cool gray 4. You guys, I just lost my train of thought. What was I talking about? I don't know. It's my first time swatching these. I'm really, I can tell already I'm liking how they color. I'm liking how it's coming out. Feels super juicy. The colors are really pretty so far. I do wonder if having only 51 to start might make me feel like I don't have enough. But hey, if they're good, then that just means putting the bigger size set on your wish list is the next step, right? Glass green. I have this weird thing where sometimes when I get markers or colored pencils or anything, when they're new, I sort of like to do at least one picture where I'm only using those. I don't know, are you guys like this? Where so for example, I just got these Caliarts at a 51. I also have my new Chibi Girls grayscale, which I'm obsessed with. And I'm like, okay, well, I need to do a Chibi Girl with my Caliarts, but I don't want to mix anything else in. Like the first time, I only want it to be my set of Caliarts. And I sort of like to do that a few times. I think because it makes me feel like I just really can get a feel for what the markers are like, how they color, you know, on different size spaces, all that kind of stuff. And just like really give them a shot. And then once I get more comfortable with them, then I'll mix them in with other stuff. It's kind of weird. I mean, in terms of like in one picture. I don't know, you guys. It's just a weird thing. I will say I really like those greens so far. I think those are really nice. Next we have a bud green coming up. Let's see how this looks. So my channel's super, well, it looks like I think my channel is like 10 years old or something because I first logged into YouTube, I don't know, 10 years ago or something. And I used to be a Girl Scout leader, and so really the first thing I ever used YouTube for was I used to find songs, like Girl Scout songs, and I would save them to my Girl Scout playlist or whatever, and that's what we would use YouTube for. So I've had this for ages. Now, when I decided I wanted to make my own coloring channel, I was like, well, I'll just change my channel name to Rainy Day Coloring because I love rain. I love coloring. I live in the Northwest. It felt cozy, and I like things that feel cozy. And so I just changed my channel name. Anyway, so the channel's been up for like, I don't know, a week and a half maybe now. This one, just a heads up, it is skin white. So I don't know how well this will show up on here. I can pull this back up to see if we can get a better look at it. So it did show up. You could see that cool gray really like does not show up. It barely shows up in real life, to be honest. Coral pink R15. So I've been having a lot of fun making videos. I'm still trying to figure out what kind of videos I'm enjoying making, what kind of videos people like to watch when they're on my channel. So it's definitely a learning curve. And if you have any tips that you want to tell me, or if there's something you want to see or don't want to see, please let me know. I am totally open to suggestions. My sister told me the other day, because she's been watching, my sister told me the other day, she's like, if you say kiddo one more time during your videos. So have I been saying my kiddo all the time? I probably have when I talk about my son. And as my sister's telling me this, we're talking on the phone, she's like, you know, the only thing worse than hearing you say kiddo is when teachers call their kids kiddos. And I'm a preschool teacher, and I was like, that's hilarious, sister. I always call my students kiddos. I just can't stop myself. So if that bothers you, please let me know, and I will. I thought for sure me saying or like or something like that would be more annoying, but what do I know? Geranium. Okay. So let's see. What else? What has been going on where you live? I'm in the Pacific Northwest. We had a really weird, I mean, besides like all the political and pandemic stuff. Let's go more day to day. So I live in the Northwest, and we had a really weird start to summer. This is blush. We had a really weird start to summer where early in like May, or maybe it was even end of April, we had a couple really warm days. And then it was like cold and especially rainy and just weird over here. So it's just now started to get warm or hot and like sunny. But to be clear, I should tell you that when it's hot, like I think today the high, depending where you live, you're probably gonna laugh at us. I think today the high is 76 or something, maybe 78, and that is like real hot for where I live. And it's sunny, so like there's no cloud cover. I mean, it is like sunscreen up and complain about the heat. So you'll have to tell me how hot it is where you live. That's a deep red. Although I should say, I always say this to my parents because it's hotter where they live. It gets hotter in the summer, but I'm always like, you have air conditioning. People here don't have air conditioning. We actually haven't even brought our fans in to the house yet. We usually bring our fans in that stay out in the shed during the year. I feel like I can't find one. Sorry, that's what I'm looking for. And we haven't even brought those in yet. So it's really just started to be warm out, which is nice. Except for I have been planting this year. So we have some berries and veggies and stuff like that. And we had so much rain in June that I just like started, I just like didn't have to water. I mean, probably for, I don't know, a 2 week period, it rained so much that I didn't have to water my garden. And now it's so dry and I keep forgetting to water. So one of my tomato plants looks pretty yellow. So I'm trying to be better and remembering I have to get back into the watering every day. Watering every day is business. Okay, now you can kind of see we've transitioned. So we've done some blues, some grays, some greens, some reddish, some red and pinks. We're just getting into, that was a pastel violet. Here's another name. I didn't know what this meant. This one was Jacaranda? Jacaranda? I didn't know what that meant. It reminded me of, I was like, is this Indonesian? Is this Jakarta? Is this Jogjakarta? Like, what does that mean? My husband grew up in Indonesia. And so 2 years ago, we went and visited, which was super fun. And we went to Jakarta among other places in Indonesia, and it was really cool. I'd never been anywhere. I'd never been so far from home. I mean, that's from where I live, like opposite end of the world, right? But I'd only been, so I live in the Western United States, and I'd been like up and down the Western states, and to Mexico once, to Canada, Western Canada, excuse me. Not really Eastern Canada at all. So I hadn't been anywhere that far from home. So that was kind of fun to take such a big trip. We ended up going to Japan as well during that trip because my brother and his family live in Japan. It was so fun. We actually had been thinking back and forth, maybe this summer would have been a good summer, you know, to go back and visit, but it ended up not being a great summer for travel. So we'll see how the next couple years go and if we get to travel again. There's some really nice rich colors that we're getting into. Now the one thing about this limited palette of 51, like these are beautiful colors. But I mean 51's not a giant range, right? I don't know. There's plenty. I'm probably just I don't know, being a complainer or something, right? So, but I will say, so far these are amazing. I love them. This is a warm gray 0, so this probably won't show up very well either. It'll definitely be interesting to see how it compares to cool gray. Oh, it does look warm. Huh, interesting. Okay, now we're gonna do some yellows and oranges. So we're gonna start with a canary orange, and we are almost done, guys. I'll hold this up so you can get a better view. I will say so far these just feel great. I really like them. So excited to try them out. I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I really like, well, I'm sure I have mentioned this. I love like Ohuhu markers, which are a very thrifty alcohol marker. And I love, markers are by far my favorite thing to color with. Specifically alcohol markers would be my very, very, very favorite. So I love getting to try new ones, new types of markers. But I also like really using the ones I have. So I'm sort of slowly trying to try different types of alcohol markers, but I don't want to get so inundated with them that I'm not using what I have, which so far I am using what I have. So I like that. I do have some Copics and some Spectrum Noir, and I have bought a few more. I'll never be someone, I don't think, that has a full collection of either of those. I mean, I like them, but I also really like variety, and I like trying new things, and I do think my Copics and Spectrum Noirs are really fun to color with. But I also think my other alcohol markers are really fun to color with. So it's not enough that I'm like, I can only use those. Nothing else works. This olive yellow is kind of interesting to me because it just seems darker than I imagined it would be. But pretty colors so far, right? This is a raw umber. And I'm trying so hard not to make this shake this time. I noticed in my last video there was some shakiness, and I think it's from me hitting the desk, and that's kind of knocking my little tripod that's holding it. We're so close to the end, you guys. So I think that's what it's for. So I need to figure out a way, if it's not better today, to make that better for future videos for sure. There's orange, and that's really a nice true orange. That's pretty. Oh, 623, I almost did the wrong one. Potato brown. Oh, this does kind of look like a, I think I forgot to move that down, a russet potato brown. It's not funny. Huh. Now I did, so these, I didn't have enough space on one for this set of 51, so I always just do a little arrow and go to the next page. I tried to keep it, these are the ones that are in the Y family, so I just kept it next to them, so it sort of will look similar if you're looking between them. And then it also gives me extra room. So if I do expand my Caliart collection, I can either choose to just add on here. I mean, I could theoretically start over again, but I don't know that I would need to. This says it's salmon pink, so that'll be fun to see what that ends up drying as. This one is terracotta, and when I was writing out the name and numbers, I was dying to see what terracotta looks like. If it really looks like a, you know, terracotta pot. So I'm excited to watch that dry and see what happens. Okay, we're down to the last 3, you guys. We can do this. Says it's a light orange. The other thing about these Caliarts is you can pull out if you need to just switch it around, so you could pull out that brush tip and then put it in backwards and to freshen up the tip. Ooh. Rouge orange, I think this is. And then this was, oh, everything's fallen now. Maroon. Fun. Okay, so here you can see, this is our full set of 51. You've kind of seen me go through and do it. I think the colors look great. It looks like there's a good variety. I mean, yeah, because you probably even could do, I mean, there's even, I guess you even, there isn't necessarily a super great tan color. I'm just thinking like how this would, if you wanted to do darker skin tones or whatever. But there's a great mix of colors. It seems like there's a lot of greens that are relatively varied. So I really like that because I like to see, I mean, those would just be really pretty together. You can already tell. So kind of interesting. It'll be fun to play around with them and see. Not a ton of yellows, really. And that salmon pink dried almost like it looks like a peach to me, a little bit of dark peach. Anyway, so thank you so much for kind of going over this with me and allowing me to swatch these on camera with you. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you've actually made it this far, oh my gosh, I just want to give you a hug and say thank you. And to everyone who likes and subscribes and all that good stuff, thank you so much. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.